Bonjour mon petit chifle, Amber here, and I am here for one last book video of 2017. Before we get started, I would like to say I'm not sure whether or not this is in focus. If it's not, I'm very sorry. I have a new camera and I'm still trying to figure out how to film with it, being that there's no viewfinder and I don't have a screen or anything. So please bear with me for the time being. But like I said, I am here to talk about books one last time this year. I know last year I did, or at the beginning of this year I did, the 17 books I wanted to read in 2017. I'm not doing it this way this year. I'm not doing 18 books to read in 2018. I did think about it, but for the most part that list carries on into 2018's list, considering that I'm reading my 18th book of the year, which is so hard to say out loud. So this year, I am just going to go over my favorite books that I read this year, these favorite books that I read this year, and my 2018 TBR. So grab a snack. As I'm filming this, it is Christmas Day, so that's why I have my cozy sweater on. What you can't see is I have some cozy pajama pants on. I have, speaking of books, 2 of my bookish candles burning right now. I have my District 12 candle burning, which smells, if I may say so myself without sounding biased, incredible. It's definitely one of my top 3 favorite candles that I've made. The other one's not like a book, it's not a book candle, it's a TV inspired candle. It's my Evil Regals candle, another one of my 3 Once Upon a Time inspired candles. It smells like apple, red delicious apples. See, I'll leave a link down there for where you can get those. Moving on. I'm sorry I'm all over the place. I am realizing now that I'm hungry. So like I said, I'm finishing my 18th book of 2017, which is Mockingjay. We know I reread the Hunger Games every November. This year it carried on into December because I was reading 2 other books at the start of November, plus writing all month for NaNoWriMo. Okay, so I'm going to start this recap with the most disappointing books that I read in 2017. There are 4, so 4 out of the 18 books that I read were disappointing. And when I say disappointing, it's not like, oh, I hated these books. Some are, I hated these books, just compared to the rest of the books that I read this year, they were not as high in my ranking, in my personal ranking. If you loved them, excellent. The first one is a reread. It's 13 Reasons Why by J. Asher. I reread this book in preparation to watch the show, which is a whole other conversation. And I don't know why, I just didn't love it as much as I did the first time. This used to be one of my favorite books, but I couldn't love it as much as I used to. I still love it a lot more than the show though. I don't know, I doubt that I'll ever reread it again. I probably will keep it just to have it. Like I said, for the longest time it was one of my favorite books. That's all I have to say about 13 Reasons Why. The next book is None of the Above by I.W. Gregorio. And this is definitely one of the ones where it's not on the disappointing books because, or least favorite books, I guess, because I didn't like it. Because I did like this book. I just didn't love this book. I felt like there was a lot that was left out or just cut off at the end. A lot of unanswered questions or loose ends, or just also felt like the main character of this book, while, hold on, let me clarify. While I think this book is very important because of the subject matter, it's about the main character finds out that she's intersex, and I guess it's just coming to terms with that and learning what that means and how to live as an intersex individual. I guess she's figuring out how she fits into the gender spectrum, I suppose, or the sex biology. I think it's very important, especially right now in this, I was going to say the country, but it's so much bigger than that. But putting that aside, as far as the story goes, I feel like it could have been told a lot better. I feel like there wasn't a lot of depth to the main character. I don't remember her name, Kristen. And I feel like, if I remember correctly, I'm trying to remember what it was exactly, but it was very contradictory. I wonder if I made notes on it, because I did read it very early into the year. I know I never reviewed it, but that's what it was. Everything that she went through, or it's like she not made changes, but everything was about a guy, and it wasn't about her. And that just, to the end, it was about a guy. She did all of this, went through all of this, and the story still ended with her getting the guy. And I didn't think that that was necessary for this particular story. But that's just my opinion.
That's my opinion!
Moving on. The third disappointing book of 2017 for me. It was Before I Fall by Lauren Oliver. This book has been hyped up forever. Another one I reread. I read this one because I wanted to see the movie. And it took me so long to get through this book. I hated all of the characters except for Kent. I loved Kent. And I didn't get it. I didn't get the hype. I mean, obviously I got the story. I know what happened. But like, I didn't get the hype. I didn't get why everyone drools over this book. Maybe it's because I'm not really a contemporary reader. But like I said, I hated all the characters. I hated the ending. I could have gone without reading this book. Everyone always like hypes it up and compares it to oh my god, what's the one? Not Where She Went, that's the sequel. If I Stay. But it's not at all like this. It's just the main character and her friends, who are all awful, are in a car accident, and the main character keeps reliving her last day over and over again, I guess, to learn life lessons. So I'm going to say without giving away the entire storyline. Kent deserved better. Also, I watched the movie, and I could have gone without watching the movie, and I was even more disappointed because Kent just felt so wrong to me. I'm one of those people. This is why I have trouble with book to movie adaptations, because I'm very picky about who plays like my favorite characters. If it's not right, it's not right. If it's not right when they like start promoting it and like doing like letting the trailers come out, it's not right. But a lot of the times I'm proven wrong. Just like when Hunger Games came out, I was mad that Josh Hutcherson was playing Peeta. Don't get me wrong, I love him. I have loved him for his entire career. I've been a fan of his since like Zathura and Bridge to Terabithia. So it wasn't him. It just, he didn't feel like Peeta to me. When I read the books, an actor that came to mind was Max Terriot. If you don't know who he is, he was Dylan on Bates Motel, and he's on, what show is that now? He was also in My Soul to Take and House at the End of the Street with Jennifer Lawrence, which would have been perfect, but you know, whatever. But when I finally saw the first Hunger Games movie, I was blown away by Josh's Peeta. So I am very open to being proven wrong, but this kid was not Kent. I don't know where they got him from, but they should have returned. And the last disappointing book is so disappointing, apparently, that I forgot that I read it. I forgot that I read it this year, and I don't even know where it is. And it's Room by Emma Donoghue. Now, I vaguely remember reading this book at the beginning of 2017. I wanted to read it because I love the movie a lot. There was a time where I watched it every day. I found the book. I wanted to love it. I really, really did. I won't say it was boring. It was just really hard. I think what was hard for me, which wasn't hard in the movie, is that the story is told through Jack's point of view, and Jack is 5 years old. I found him annoying. I found him very annoying. I didn't find Jack that, I mean, obviously he's 5, so like he's gonna be annoying, and he's never, like, all he knows is his mother. But Jacob Tremblay is adorable, so I couldn't. It was boring. Ma was annoying. Jack was annoying. I actually do have notes on. I saw it when I was flipping through. Oh, no, I found it a bit hard to get into, and Jack is annoying. So there's the summary of that. So moving on to my favorite books of 2017. This does not include rereads because 6 counting 13 Reasons list the same books every year as my favorites. The Hunger Games would be my favorite books every year because there are some books that you reread and you're just like, ugh, these are not one of them, or these are not like that. I don't know. I have 4 books that made it into my, or 5 books, sorry, 2 of them are part of a series. 5 books that have made it into my top books of 2017. I keep forgetting what year it is. The first one is a tiny book. This was included in my 17 books I wanted to read this year. One of the few that I actually got to. I think I read 3 maybe books off of that list. And it's this tiny thing, We Shall Be Feminist by Chimamanda Ngozi Adichie. As you can see, I have many pages, little anecdotes and quotes bookmarked with the tiny little post-its. I carry this book around in my purse at all times, and I have about 6, what is this? Oh my god! Why is this in here? What is this? It's my grandma. This is my grandma when she was my age, I think younger than me actually. The 70s were wild, man. Anyway, I don't know why it was in my book, let alone in my bag. This little baby was adapted from Chimamanda's TED Talk by the same name. It's basically her take on feminism in the 21st century, what it means to her, her experiences and understanding, especially growing up in Africa. I guess how the thought process of being a feminist or what that means corresponds with her heritage. Also, feminism involved in I guess not just like day-to-day life and relationships and politics and business. And I want to buy one. I don't know if I finished that sentence before my grandma fell out of my book. I have a few in my Amazon cart because I do intend on buying this little thing for so many people. My sister, my friends. The next book is by an author that we all know I love so very much. And it is The Flame and the Mist by Renee Attia, author of The Wrath and the Dawn and The Rose and the Dagger, which we know I love. What happened to the edge of my book? Anyway, first of all, the cover is beautiful. This book is a retelling of sorts of Mulan. First of all, I would read anything that Renee wrote. Second of all, I live for a retelling. Third, I love Mulan. I love the story. I love this book. This book actually kind of kickstarted being able to read more frequently. I read this in October, right before NaNoWriMo started, in fact, and I read this so quickly, like in a matter of days, which for me recently is a miracle because like I said, I've been reading and I just started Mockingjay not too long ago. I've been reading the Hunger Games books since November, the end of November, and it's about to be the end of December, and usually like I zip through those, read each one in like a day or 2. I read this one in maybe 3 days. My voice keeps cracking. I'm very sorry. And I loved it. It was fast paced. It was beautifully told. I love that Renee writes butt kicking, I almost swore, women, strong women, smart women. Yes, I'm always here for a book with a main character that girls can look up to. That was actually, Mulan was definitely one of the, like, a role model for me. And yes, Disney's Mulan is a fictional character, but yes, this girl joined the military disguised as a boy and saved China. And I'm like, heck freaking yeah. I have fallen in love yet again with yet another one of Renee's characters. Why does she do this to me? Why can't she just let me breathe? Just can't let me live. Let me actually tell you what the book's about. This book is about, like I said, a retelling of, or inspired by, Mulan. Mariko, I believe I'm pronouncing this right, it's set in Japan. Mariko is on her way to marry the crown prince, and her carriage is attacked. Everyone in her party is killed. She barely survives, and she basically escapes into the woods. She is convinced that the Black Clan has killed her party and was trying to kill her, assassinate her, and she is on a quest to find out why, who hired them, because they are a group, a gang of like mercenaries. So she is trying to figure out who hired them to kill her and why. So she disguises herself as a boy and basically infiltrates their camp, becomes a part of their group. So I've fallen deeply in love with Okami. I'm pronouncing that wrong, I'm very sure. I'm very sorry. What a man. Clearly troubled and dark and mysterious is my type. I have plans. There will be several Flame in the Mist inspired candles in 2018. It's actually at the top of my priority, my list for 2018. Let me move on. Renee's ruining my life. The next book is by an author that I have absolutely become obsessed with this year. I can't wait for her next book when it comes out. She just finished writing it, I believe, so I'm excited. And it's The Hate U Give by Angie Thomas. This book is so important right now. This book is so important. I don't know how many times I can say this. The movie just finished wrapping. This was quick. I'm excited. I love this book. This book was inspired by the Black Lives Matter movement. It is about a 16-year-old Star who witnesses her best friend get murdered by the police. She's the only witness. She obviously is black, but she goes to like an all-white school, predominantly white school. The story is not just about dealing with her best friend's murder and the whirlwind of drama and that follows that. It's also about her correlating Star at home with like the Star she has to be around her white school, and I actually relate to that so much. And it's also about, like, for me personally, because the part that I relate to is sort of like she's not black enough for her neighborhood or the people her family, not her immediate family, but like her extended family, her neighborhood friends or whatever, but like at school, and hey, there's Jordan Sparks. In that other environment, she's too black, and I've literally dealt with that my whole life, so like I get that. And also, like I said, in this political climate, the whole storyline about police brutality and racism that goes with that, and just the whole thing, kind of how like they want to write Khalil off because he was involved in a gang, so automatically that means that he deserved to be killed by cops. And literally it's all stuff we've heard over and over and over again in the news, and the way it's written is engaging and it's fast paced, and like you really feel for the characters. And yeah, Angie, I'm obsessed with you. Let's be friends, please. Okay, my last two books are part of a series. They go together. Also another author that I've become obsessed with this year. And the two books are Truth Witch, my god, Truth Witch and Wind Witch by Susan Dennard. These are the books I was reading right before I started rereading The Hunger Games. Okay. I'm going to just basically run down what Truth Witch is about because I don't want to give any spoilers away. So, our main character, well, she's not even the main character, there's so many characters. Sophia is a Truth Witch, which means she can tell when someone is lying or being honest. She can see intentions and whatnot. Her thread sister, Isolt, is a Thread Witch, which means she can see the threads that bind people together. Their main desire basically is to live free of responsibility or expectations and judgment. Safi is nobility in the Witchlands, while Isolt is a Nomatsi, which she's kind of like, people treat her like a leper basically. And so they just want to be free away from the city that they live in. They encounter Aduin, who is a blood witch. Basically they have to go on the run from him, but somehow Safi is roped into the brewing war as a pawn. Then they encounter Merrick, who is the Prince of New Brevna and also the Admiral of the New Brevnan Navy. He is helping war effort, I guess, helping Safi's uncle, who's using her as a pawn, and in return hoping to get like food for his land. So that's the gist of this story without giving too much away. I don't know, none of that made sense. But what I love about this story, I love this story. First of all, it's written beautifully. The world building is incredible. Like, it's so like, I see everything so vividly. These characters are so well developed. I absolutely love the fact that the main relationship in this story is the friendship between Safi and Isolde. I also love that they are both, once again, powerful, strong, smart, butt-kicking women. I think their dynamic is powerful, and I can't wait to see how it continues to play out because there's another book coming out eventually. I love Merrick. If I could read a book without falling in love with a character, that would be a miracle. No, but I really do. I love Merrick. And as I read Wind Witch, I found myself falling for Aduin. I can't say his name. Also, which is kind of problematic. The characters are written very well. I can't wait for the rest of the story and see how it concludes, because this... Hello? Well, that was aggressive, Harry. I will say that I didn't love this as much as I love the first one, but that is common with second books. I did love it though. I just need everybody to be where they belong is all I'm going to say. I really don't think that made sense, but I loved these books a lot. So now I want to talk about my 2018 TBR. Just how many books are these? 1, 2, 8, 9 books that are at the top of my TBR for 2018. Starting with rereads. I have a few rereads that I definitely want to get around to this year. First and foremost, as always, I want to reread The Wrath in the Dawn and The Rose and the Dagger by Renee Attiah. I don't have to really go on about this, do I? We know I love these books. I haven't read them in a while, so there's nothing else I have to say about that. If you would like to hear my review about the books, I will leave both of them, because there is the one from when I read The Wrath in the Dawn the first time, and then there's the second one from when I recapped The Wrath in the Dawn, and then reviewed The Rose and the Dagger. So just know I love these books. They are briefly a retelling of 1001 Arabian Nights. This is a World War II historical fiction book told through the eyes of a young German girl, Liesel. She loves words and reading, and it's a really beautiful story, and I love the movie so much. I watch it all the time. So yeah, this looks so much bigger than the other version that I have. The last reread is Dorothy Must Die by Danielle Page. I recently got a new one because my original book is in storage somewhere. I just got the paperback from Book Outlet. I just filmed a Book Outlet haul a few days ago. I don't know which one's going up first. That might be my first video of 2018. I got Dorothy Must Die, and I think the third one in the series is also on the website. All three, the first 3 books were on the website. I thought I put all 3 in my cart, but clearly I didn't. So this would be the reread, so I can go on to read the rest of the series. This is not a retelling, but it's like a sequel almost to The Wizard of Oz. This book was featured in my first Books of the Month video, so I will leave the link to that so you can watch the review and hear the synopsis and whatever down there. So now to the rest of my TBR. The first book I recently received as a gift from my friend Maggie, who is one of the greatest people I've ever met in my life, and we haven't even met in person yet. I love you, Maggie, if you're watching this. It's Any Human Heart by William Boyd. I'm not entirely sure what it's about, but Maggie sent it to me, and if she thinks I'll love it, I'll probably love it. It says, every life is both ordinary and extraordinary, but Logan Mountstuart's lived from the beginning to the end of the 20th century, contains more than its fair share of both. As a writer who finds inspiration in Paris and London, as a spy betrayed in the war, and as an art dealer in 60s New York, Logan mixes with the movers and shakers of his times. But as a son, friend, lover, and husband, he makes the same mistakes we all do in our search for happiness. Here, then, is the story of a life lived to the full and a journey deep into a very human heart. It sounds really good, and I can't wait to read it. I'm going to read this. Will be the first book that I read this year, so thank you very much, Maggie. Okay, next is a book I've had for a while and kept putting off reading, so here we are. It's Caravel by Stephanie Garber. I've heard, ooh, that's pretty. I never even know, I guess with the light. I have heard a lot of things about this book. I've heard a lot of good things about this book. I've heard some not so great things where some people didn't love this book. The cover is really, really pretty, and I'm very interested and excited to see. When the book first came out, I thought it was sort of like a carnival type thing, like a creepy carnival or whatever. It's not. Basically, the main character and her sister have always dreamt of seeing Caravel, which is like a once in a lifetime or once a year performance. Once a year performance where the audience participates. Sort of like the Hunger Games, but I guess not really. That's what that reminds me of. Her sister dreamed. She finally receives her invitation, and they go to Caravel. Alright, sorry about that. My camera died, so I switched cameras. Anyway, as I was saying, her invitation comes, and this is about, I guess, her times involved in the game that is Caravel. The next book is about by an author that I love very, very much, and I've read all of his other books. So this is no exception. It's Turtles All the Way Down by John Green. This is the signed copy, and I didn't even realize. I love John Green. I love all his books. I've read all his books. And I'm very excited about this one. I remember there was a time where he said he might not write another book, and I was very, very distraught about it. And I've heard so many good things about this book. Basically, it's about the main character. It has a lot to do with her mental health, mental illness. I believe she has OCD. That's truthfully basically all that I know about this book. I think John is a great actor. I think he's an actor. I think John is a great writer, author. I think he's a pretty swell guy. And I think we need all the things, pieces of art, I guess, that shed a light on mental illness and its reality and the people that live with it, and not just for like to bring awareness that hey, this is a thing, this is a real thing, but I think it's also really good for people who, if it's done right, if it's done like accurately, it's good for the people who live with it, sort of like, hey, I see you, I acknowledge you, you're alright, you're not alone. I don't know why I just sounded like I was crying. I'm not crying. The next two books are the last ones that I have physically with me, and they are both part of a series. They're the first two books in a series that has also been all over the booktube, and it's Three Dark Crowns and One Dark Throne by Kendare Blake. Heard a lot of things about these books. The covers are beautiful. From what I know, the Three Dark Crowns is about three sisters, I believe they're triplets, and they are both in line to the crown, and the only way to determine who is to be queen is to kill off your two sisters. That's what this story is about. I guess the battle for the One Dark Throne. The next book is a book I don't have with me, but it sounds so good. I believe if it wasn't the most recent book on our shared shelf book list, it's the one before that. It's The Power. I don't remember who it's by. I'm very sorry. I will edit it in. Basically what I've gathered is it's sort of like a dystopian novel about what happens when women develop the power to electrocute people by touch. So heck yeah. From the reviews that I've heard about the book, it sounds really, really good, and that's actually a really interesting concept to think about. The last book isn't out yet, but I'm very much looking forward to it in 2018, and it is Sight Witch, also by Susan Dennard. It's I believe it's a novella, sort of like a prequel type thing. It is about Ryber. It's told through her journals, That's all I can really tell you without giving away the storyline of Truth Witch and Wind Witch. But I'm very, very excited. Like I said, I love these characters so much, and I'm here for a little more character development and world building, and I'm here for anything that will hold me over until Blood Witch comes out. So yeah, I believe that's everything. Those are my favorite books of 2017, my least favorite books of 2017, and the books that I am most looking forward to reading in 2018. Let me know down there what you loved and hated in 2017 and plan on reading in 2018. Leave me some book suggestions, books you think I would be very interested in. Oh. Before I go, I do want to say also at the top of my agenda for book candles for 2018, I have some Wrath in the Dawn candles planned, which I'm excited about. Once again, more self-promo. I have some Truth Witch inspired candles coming soon. I'm really, really excited about also. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. If you like me, feel free to subscribe. All my places are down here so you can follow me and I'll follow you back and we can be buds. And I'll see you in the new year. Bye. Okay, right, cool. Book. Alright, I was on a roll.